Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we have the second update of the new Anchorhead Bay International Airport. There's not going to be any cargo ops today because I don't have any space to do that in this one. But yeah, so we're looking for like a mid-afternoon update. So there's not going to be as many I guess Asian aircraft around. Kind of at the end of the Asian push here, so the last two Asian planes are out. Middle Eastern planes kind of just come in throughout the day, but you're going to see an abundance of European flights, and then a couple from like Middle East or Australia. So we're going to get started here on the taxiway. We have the LL 789 up to 2 flights per day. So this airport on the 789, taxiing out to, this is the first flight that comes in earlier in the morning. Comes in about 8 and departs, so we're kind of looking around 12-ish for this one. So he comes in at 8 in the morning, 8:30 in the morning, and departs at 12. So out to Tel Aviv. And then the Air China, twice weekly on Air China on the 7478. Out to Beijing capital. They fly in early morning flights from Beijing, arrive about 10, and then they depart at 12. So right behind the first LL flight. The second LL flight is an afternoon flight. Most on every day except, Saturdays. So now we're gonna get to Delta here. So this is mostly gonna be domestic stuff. Starting off with the 737-800, getting ready for a pushback out to Tampa, Florida. Delta 717 just arrived in from Detroit. Delta 757-300 getting ready for a flight to he's getting ready for a flight out to we're just going to send him to Salt Lake City. 767-300 just arrived in from Seattle, Tacoma. Delta 321neo getting ready for a flight to New York, JFK. A330-300 he is getting ready for a ferry flight to Atlanta, so he's not going to have any passengers on board or anything. He's being transferred up to Atlanta. Then we have two regionals, the CRJ-9 there, Delta Connection, getting ready for pushback out to Jacksonville, and the CRJ-700 just arrived in from Raleigh-Durham. We have a 220, Delta A220, getting ready for a flight to Detroit. 739 just arrived in from Newark. A 757-200 getting ready for a flight to Sioux Falls in South Dakota. And a 321 getting ready for pushback out to we're just gonna send him to Sacramento. So that's the Delta terminal. So we're gonna let's get the taxiway again like we did last time. We have this ANA 787-9. ANA has one daily flight to Tokyo aboard the 787-10. And this aircraft is taxiing out to Tokyo Haneda. And then we have on pushback here the Southwest 737-700 getting ready for pushback for Dallas Love Field, and then the 737-800 there, right? Arriving in from where is it? Just gonna say he arrived in from Tampa. We're gonna get started here. American is slowly building their presence at the airport here. They're up to 5. They have 5 aircraft here parked at a time, which is the most of any non-Delta airline. So we'll get started here. We have the Dash 8 200 just arrived in or a short hop from Miami. CRJ 700 getting ready for a flight to Charlotte, and they're still not like a hub or anything, so they're still just mostly doing their hub cities, but they are getting a big presence here. My goal is to make this airport a hub for both Delta and American and possibly United, so a hub for all the big three airlines. We have a 737-800 here arriving in from let's see, 737-800 arrived in from Phoenix. A320 getting ready for a flight to Chicago. 737 MAX 8 just flew in from New York JFK. So now we're going to get, currently there's just 2 United gates. There were 3, but when I decided to give American more room here, it pushed United down to 2. But I would like to get United back up because I also want to make this a hub for JetBlue as well. So United 757-200 just flew from San Francisco, and a 737 MAX 8 boarding for he's boarding up for a flight down over to he's boarding up for a flight to Newark, and then the Southwest 737-800 in the Canyon Blue retro livery just arrived in from he just arrived in from New York LaGuardia. And we have a Frontier A320 getting ready for a flight to over to Denver. Breeze E190 just flew in from Charleston. Spirit A320 getting ready for a flight to he's getting ready for a flight over to, let's just say we're gonna send him to I'm trying to think of a route to send him to. We're just gonna send him over to send it to Dallas. Then we have an Allegiant A320, and he just arrived in from St. Petersburg, Clearwater. Alaska 737-900 getting ready for a flight to Seattle. JetBlue A220 just arrived in from New York JFK. An A320 getting ready for a flight to we'll just say he's getting ready for a flight to Boston Logan. And then the A321 Neo just flew in from LAX. So that's the full domestic stuff. So the plan is to make it a hub for American, United, and JetBlue. But just with space, I can't really do that right now. The plan is also to really just make this airport a lot like JFK, but with like just a crazy amount of flights, even crazier than JFK. Like, I do have plans. They are subject to change. So we're gonna get to the international. So starting off with the Aeroflot L96, just arrived in from Moscow. The French Bee A350 getting ready for a flight to Paris. Still no Air France operations here. I don't have any Air France planes, but I do want to get some Air France. I want an A350. At least just an A350. I'd also like an A320 because I want to start doing the flights to, I think it's pronounced Pointe-à-Pitre in the Caribbean, because they do base 2 A320s down there, and they fly them even to the United States because they've flown to JFK and flown them to Atlanta before. So I just thought I could do that here. I think they do them still to Miami. I'm not sure, but that would be really cool to have the 320s here. From Air France. But anyway, we have a Qantas A380. Currently the only operation to Australia. We're up to 3 weekly Qantas flights to Australia, to Sydney, all aboard the A380. They do make a stop in Los Angeles and then fly on over here. But So he's going back to Sydney via Los Angeles. And with French B, they're up to, I forgot to mention how the flights are with Aeroflot. So Aeroflot is a 2-weekly flight aboard the Il-96. I would like to get a 777, mostly a 777 or an A350 to run this flight. Maybe like one on a A350 and one on an Il-96, or one on a 777, one, you know, just mix it up. And French B is four weekly on the 350. Now a Delta has multiple routes on their A350s. Out of here they have 3, which are Tel Aviv, Doha, and Tokyo Haneda. I want to start, so this one's doing Doha today, which is an afternoon flight on the 350, but hopefully I can get some European stuff started. I just need to get more Delta wide bodies and really get this airport expanded, but I'd like to do some like Amsterdam, Paris, London. I could really start all those routes up with these 350s. But he's doing Doha today, so there's only 3 routes on the 350s at the moment. And Doha is a twice weekly flight on the 350s. Qatar hasn't started service here yet. I do want to get a Qatar and start it. Get a Qatar Airways plane and fly it in. Probably a 777. We have Emirates on the 777-9X. So Emirates is probably one of the most international airlines here. They have like 8. No, they have 10 weekly. So alongside El Al, it's like 2 flights a day. Actually, no, it's like 15 weekly Emirates flights. It's 2 every single day. And then 3 on Tuesdays. So they fly everything. Currently, it's just had the 350s, or the, not 350s, 777-9Xs and the A380s here. I do want to get a 777-300ER, and that could really sum it up. And I want to get a bunch of special Emirates liveries on both 300ER and the A380, because that would help out a lot. And you could really mix it up with those. But the 777-9X here is doing Dubai. We have the Delta A330neo. So they have multiple routes on the neos out of here currently. Multiple as in 2 at the moment. But again, as I continue to build up my Delta fleet, I can really do some stuff with Delta here. Really make it into a world-class hub for Delta. But they operate the 330 neos to London Heathrow, and can't remember what route I sent this airplane on last update. No, it was a domestic route. But as far as international goes, it's to London and to Paris, and he just flew in from Paris. But I'd like to open Tel Aviv on this one, and I'd like to open Dubai. Well, Dubai on the 350. I want to open Dubai on the 350. Maybe Moscow on this one. Oh, I just tapped the table on the gate, and the jet bridge fell on the plane that's parked next to this one. But Rome, I want to start Rome with Delta. Hold on, let me just put this camera down here. Yeah, just like that. I want to start Rome with Delta. I want to do Munich, Frankfurt, and Berlin. Other routes I'd like to get started are Sydney, Singapore, maybe even like Bangkok, Perth. Let me think. What other ones? Beijing, Shanghai, Wuhan. Maybe even something crazy like Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia, which would be really cool. Hanoi, just really cool routes. I could run those on the 350s, but this one's doing Paris, the 330. Just arriving from Paris. Those are just some ideas of routes. And now we have the new model here, a new one that you've only seen if you've watched a shorts video that featured this aircraft. Oh, I'm sorry, my fingers are in the way. This is an ETA Airways Airbus A330-200. ETA is currently up to 2 daily flights on the 200 to Rome. So he's getting ready for a flight out to Rome, and yep, the jet bridge fell. I'm sorry about that. And now Lufthansa. Now I have big plans for Lufthansa to really grow the fleet. Currently, it's just a 340, but I do have plans on getting a 380, a 747, a 787, and a 350. And run Lufthansa on a huge network to Germany, running flights to Frankfurt, Munich, and Berlin, all aboard different planes. Currently, Lufthansa is just not 2 weekly. Oh my gosh, twice daily to no, it's once daily. Sorry, once daily to Frankfurt. But I'd like to do maybe 3 or 4 daily flights from Lufthansa to all those destinations. Eventually, have like 2 Lufthansas parked at a time, which would be really cool. Currently, we just have 340-300 getting ready for Frankfurt, but that is a big, ambitious plan. And then we have the Delta 764. So currently, they are mostly doing those services to South America and to Europe aboard the 764. They run them to Paris. Lima, and it's Paris, Lima, and Amsterdam on this one. He just arrived in from Lima, Peru. And then right up over there we have a 777-200 now. British Airways is another ambitious airline. I'd like to start flights to Gatwick Airport as well, maybe even Manchester. And I want to get a new 777-200 and a couple special liveries, because that one is a 1999 release, or either a 99 or a 2000 release. It's really old, so I want to get an updated version of a 222, as well as the One World color scheme, and a couple of other special liveries, including one really old special livery that I think is really cool. Part of the Project Utopia or whatever it was livery. I want to get that one as well. But then there's also like I want to get a 350, a 788, and a 380, and a Concorde, and run them all to different destinations. Currently, British Airways is up to 3 daily actually. So the first one is early in the morning. It's a 6 a.m. arrival. It's one of the earliest flights to this airport. It's a 6 a.m. arrival. And they're all aboard 222s at the moment. So it's an early morning arrival on 222, and then it's a later departure. It's about a 6 a.m. arrival, 7:30 departure. It's a really short hop here, really short time that is here. And the next one is British Airways doesn't appear again until about 10:30, and then they depart at 1:25, and then they depart again, or they arrive again at 6:30 in the evening and depart at 9:30 at night. So British Airways does have some varied ops. It's one of the most common international flights here. Eventually, I want to get British Airways and Lufthansa to where there's always a plane here at this airport. And Emirates is also that way as well. But I want to get those 3 airlines basically to where there's always a representative of their airline here. But he just flew from London Heathrow. Again, I want to start Gatwick and Manchester up, at least because they're both big international hubs. Now, Manchester is not a hub for British Airways, but this is a fictional airport, so we can kind of just do whatever we want. You know, British Airways just starts something. But this is a 777-200, and he just flew in from London Heathrow. So that's the last of it, actually. There's, so I kind of just went through some of the fleet plans here. Again, I want to get more British Airways, and Qantas is the main, or not Qantas, Lufthansa. I would like to eventually get a 787 and then do multiple Qantas routes to Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth. Aboard the A380 and 787. And eventually, if they release a 350 as well. then make that one nonstop from like Sydney. Delta, I have big plans for Delta as well. Open at least, maybe at least up to 20 international routes, maybe more than that, aboard the 350, 330, and 767 series. And a 777, I want to get some 777s as well. I don't, depending on the retired aircraft type, and I'm obviously not going to throw in like a Delta L1011 because that's a little old. But even an MD-11, I'll get an MD. I want to get an MD-11 and start using it here, for Delta. But mostly it's going to be aboard the 777, A350s, 767 series, and the A330 and A330neo planes. And I would love to get a 747 as well. But so I had the story. I had ordered a 747 of Delta from West Coast Diecast, and they couldn't find the model in their warehouse at all. So I got a refund. I know, yes, I was a little sad, but you know what? It's okay. I can't remember what plane I bought in this place. I bought something. Can't remember what it was. Well, whatever. It's either in here or it's in my room. I can't remember which one it is. I did buy something in this place, though. I did buy some model. So as far as Emirates A380s go, I want to get a lot of A380s and some 777s. I want to get like an army of just Emirates A380s. I want to get the new livery one, you know, the Rugby World Cup livery, and the you know, the be part of the Magic livery, you know, which is blue and it looks really, really nice, and a few others. But this 777X is actually a really good plane to have in the collection. They're not in service yet in real life, but here in this universe, the 777X was certified by 2023 and delivered at least to Emirates, being its launch customer, and already on operational service. In real life, this is probably not going to happen for another couple of years, but let's see. Other plans to start international flights for American at some point. I would love to get. So I do have a 777. I do have an American 777-300ER. But I want to start some, because here's the thing. I can't use this international terminal forever. Because I struggle in setting it up. Because there's so many planes I want to include. That's why there's so many heavies on the taxiway. That's why the Air China, the ANA, and the LL are on the taxiway, because I wanted to include them somehow. So I just set it at that time of day it is, and, you know, it's all good. But some airlines, sometimes, like, I'm not, like, when I expand both United and American, I'm not going to be able to use this table anymore. I'm going to have to find something bigger to do, and at that point, it may just have to come to buying a mat or building something. And so, yeah, I also want to get some more Deltas narrow bodies, but you know how that is. I did pre-order the 319 from Gemini. I did not get the NG version because I don't have money to do that. I would, but I don't. But the Delta version is probably going to stick around now that the NG version's out, so I'll probably get another one at some point. And I also want to get another 717 as well, and another 738, at least, and a 220-100, another CRJ7, and a CRJ2, and I might also try to get another 350 at some point, and a standard 330neo. So I can stop using these special liveries, because I need to stop using the Team USA and the One World in every single update without a standard one, and maybe even a couple more of these guys, a couple more Frontiers and Breeze A220. I would love to get an A220 and some more Spirits, and the Allegiant as well. My domestic part is so messed up. The domestic aircraft is so messed up here. But yeah. Again, I need to get Air France, mostly on the A350, and eventually an Aeroflot 777. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.